In my hand, I hold evidence directly infringing Napoleon and the pigs for injustice against the animals, anywhere from embezzlement to slaughter. I have in this hand the 7 commandments, which I would like to remind the jury. Everything that animalism is and what it stands for. Through all of this, we have heard the same thing. That Napoleon has benefited and strength of character. I'm sorry to say this, but strength of character is not enough. It's being able to maybe have strong character, but live up your actions to doing so. All Napoleon has done is show that take something good, the 7 commandments. Take something that was for the benefit of the greater good, and to twist it and manipulate it towards his own and his fellow compatriots' needs. I ask the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, after all you've heard today, straight from the text, does Napoleon do any of these things? Does he display, does strength of character mean stealing puppies? Does strength of character mean stealing rations? Does strength of character mean self-awarding themselves with a title they did not even rightly, quite frankly, win? Thank you.
So the judge will now read the charge to the jury, and the jury will be excused to deliberate. The class will be allowed to visit quietly. Key word is the adverb quietly.
Members of the jury,
Read it loud, sweetheart.
Members of the jury, you are about to deliberate and decide the verdict in the case of Benjamin et al. Versus Napoleon. You are hereby charged to obey the law as I explained it to you. Your job is to determine what the true facts are and apply them to the law as I explained it to you. You are not to allow sympathy or animosity for either of the parties to this suit to sway your determination of the facts or your interpretation of the law. You must all decide unanimously whether the defendant, Napoleon, should be liable for the claims made by the plaintiff. Burden of proof. The plaintiff has the burden of proof on all her claims, while the defendant has burden of proof on all of its defenses. A party must prove a claim or defense by a preponderance of the evidence. A preponderance of the evidence is to prove that something is more likely than not. In other words, a preponderance of evidence means that when the evidence on one side is greater than the evidence on another side, it makes you believe that the evidence is more likely true than not. If the evidence is equally balanced, then you must decide against the party with the burden of proof. The defendant can be guilty of both charges or innocent of one and guilty of another. You are the sole judges of the credibility of the witness. You alone are to determine whether to believe any witness. If there is any conflict in the testimony, it is your function to resolve the conflict and to determine where the truth lies. If you believe that any witness has shown himself to be biased or prejudiced either for or against either side in this trial, you may consider whether such a bias has affected the ability of that witness to tell the truth. Charge. As to count 1, if you find and believe that the preponderance of evidence that Napoleon did violate the civil rights of the non-pig animals of Manor Farm, as also known as Animal Farm, wherein whatever goes on 2 legs is an enemy. Charge 2. As to count 2, if you find and believe from preponderance of evidence that Napoleon did violate the civil rights of the non-pig animals of Manor Farm, also known as Animal Farm, wherein all animals are equal. Damages. If you find for the plaintiff, then you shall award to the plaintiff a sum of money which will compensate him for all the damage suffered by him, which was caused by the defendant. In determining this amount, you may consider the health, physical ability, and earning capacity at the time of the injuries. Decision. After deciding these matters, you are instructed to fill out the verdict form and return it to me. Fail not to perform your duties faithfully, truly, and without prejudice. You may now retire to deliberations.
Okay, so you may visit quietly, jury.